is up, CJ Nation? I got a quick question for you guys. Did Dart Zone just put out the Nerf rival Chronos Killer under the Adventure Force Tactical Strike series? My friends, say hello to the Sentry X2. Stay tuned to see if the Sentry can step out of the Chronos' enormous shadow. So my friends, the Adventure Force Tactical Strike Sentry X2 has some big shoes to try to live up to. As most of you know, the Chronos took home my 2018 Best Blaster of the Year awards, so let's see if the Sentry can live up to that. It starts off well with a $9.97 price tag at Walmart. This one's pretty straightforward, my friends. For $9.97, here's what you're gonna get. 6 Dart Zone high impact rounds, as well as the blaster itself. Details on the Sentry are as follows. This is a spring-powered 6-shot capacity blaster with a rear top slide just like that on the Chronos. It does, however, offer you one additional round. The Chronos had a 5-shot capacity. This one actually has a 6-shot capacity. It does load a little bit differently than the Chronos, and it also has a different type of trigger lock mechanism than that on the Chronos. So let's take a look at those two things a little bit more in depth. If you remember, when it came to the Chronos, there was a trigger lock mechanism right here. Simply put it in the down position and you would not be able to pull the trigger. Lift it up and you could actually use the trigger whenever you wanted. So this is an optional trigger lock mechanism, and you could use it or never use it. You had a choice. When it comes to the Sentry, you don't have a choice. The trigger lock mechanism is always engaged. In order to release it, when you're ready to fire, you're simply going to pull this just like you would the rev trigger on a flywheel blaster and hold it. Once you do that, you're actually able to pull the trigger. If you do not engage this part of the trigger and you try to pull the trigger, you will not be able to actually fire this blaster. So it is important that you always use these two fingers in conjunction with one another. Now, for a lot of you serious Nerfers, that might actually be an issue, and a lot of you will probably not like that feature, and most of you will probably end up opening up the blaster and figuring out a way to disable that safety function. But for those of you who are parents and have younger kids who might actually use this, you might actually enjoy that extra added safety feature that Dart Zone implemented into this blaster. Now, for those of you who are not aware of how the Chronos actually works, to actually load the Chronos, you would pull the slide to the rear, leave it in this position, open up the trapdoor up top, and load your 5 rounds inside. Once you had them in, you would close this, push the prime handle forward, aim, and take your shot. This blaster, there is no need to actually take the slide and push it towards the rear. All you need to do is push this button here forward and lift up on this front trapdoor. And once this door is open, go ahead and load your rounds right here through the front. And I gotta be honest with you, this door doesn't open up quite enough for me, and it's kind of cramped, so it's kind of difficult to kind of get them in there. But once you do have them in there, close the door, prime the blaster, use the trigger safety release, aim, take the shot. It's that simple. Guys, this door I'm not a really big fan of, and Dart Zone actually gave you an option here. You can pry it right off. The blaster will operate just like this. So go ahead and prime, take the shot, okay? You don't have to have that feature on here in order to fire the blaster. But if you do like it and you want to work with it, I find it pretty cramped to try to load with that on there, so I kind of prefer it in this configuration, but that's entirely up to you. Friends, if you would like this piece back on the blaster, it snaps back on in seconds, just like so, and you can put it back on. CJ Nation, I just wanted to take a quick 2-second break during this video to, one, say thank you very much for tuning in to not only this Sentry video, but to all of the other blasters here in 2019 that I've been pumping out reviews for lately. And guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell notification, because guys, I got 12 other blasters in my house currently that I still need to do reviews for that are all brand new for 2019. So if you haven't seen any of the previous ones that I've done, click that card popping in the upper right hand corner of your screen, and it's gonna take you to my recently reviewed playlist, which will bring you videos like these. So my friends, let's get back to the video and get to the indoor range test, where we're gonna shoot it from about 25 feet away, follow that up with the chronograph testing, and then come back and give you a side-by-side comparison on how the Sentry stacks up directly next to the Chronos. All right, guys, let's have some fun with the Sentry. 25 feet away, let's zoom the camera in just a little bit so you guys get a better view of hits and misses. I know this is a Sentry review, but I think I'd be remiss if I didn't match it up side by side to the blaster that it's actually competing with, the rival Kronos. So let's go ahead and break it down in a couple of different categories and give you my opinion and breakdown of how these two blasters stand up next to one another. Let's start with price. Guys, the Sentry comes in at $9.97. The Kronos comes in at $14.99. That's base price, not sale price. I have picked up the Kronos for as little as $7.99 each on Amazon special deal days. So keep in mind, right time of the year, you could probably find both of these blasters at discounts, but base price out of the box, stock form, Sentry's gonna take this one by about $5 cheaper. Aesthetics is actually going to be a personal choice for each and every one of you out there. Personally, for me, I think the Kronos still, aesthetics-wise, is a far superior looking blaster. Next up is capacity. Guys, this is not taking modding into consideration. This is strictly stock form. The Sentry has a 6-shot capacity, and the Kronos has a 5-shot capacity. Oh, check mark for the Sentry. As far as power goes, I put these on the chronograph side by side. You guys saw it for yourself. You got 71 feet per second with the Sentry and 84 feet per second with the Kronos. So significant power difference in the two. Oh, check mark to the Kronos. Guys, let's take a look at the ease of use category. And for me personally, I'm gonna say the Kronos is a far easier platform to use. Reason being, I like the loading feature on the Kronos better. I'm not really crazy about that door. It kind of cramps it up and makes it a little harder to load the Sentry. The trigger lock mechanism is actually, just one that I'm not really used to, and the trigger constantly being locked is something that more experienced nerfers are going to look to do away with right away. So I can see a lot of people undoing the blaster and removing those safety lock mechanisms just so they can have a little bit more freedom with the Sentry. The Kronos, you basically don't have to mod anything if you don't want to, and you get really decent performance and a great feel of a blaster with that. One quick correction I need to make real quick, guys, is I did say the price of the Kronos was $14.99 in the previous segment. Guys, the white version is $14.99 base price. Currently, you can find the red or the blue versions at Target. They're averaging retail right now for $19.99 each. So there are two different price points depending on, which one you're actually going for. Either way, the Sentry still beats it in price. Just wanted to make that clarification. Now on to my overall opinion of the Sentry, guys. Although this is not going to take down the king of the ball blasting pistols, the Sentry does have its place in this market. And I'll tell you the truth, the extra safety features on here might be ideal for parents out there that are looking for something that doesn't shoot as hard as the Kronos. 6-shot capacity is quite nice. You will have to deal with a finicky loading system, which in my opinion is better on the Kronos, but it's not a deal breaker by any means. The budget price of this blaster makes it a great option. Now, just so you're aware, the Sentry does feel actually a little bigger in my hand than the Kronos, but the prime on it actually feels quite similar. I really didn't notice too much of a difference in the prime strength that it takes to actually work it. So having said that, that's the reason my son is not in this video. He is not 100% able to actually do the Kronos on his own yet. So I'm just assuming, without actually testing it with him, that he is not going to be able to handle that of the Sentry. That's going to wrap things up for my Sentry review and comparison with the Nerf rival Kronos. Hope you guys enjoyed it, found it helpful. Once again, hit that like, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you on the next video.